So what is up, guys? This is Nick here from Everything Tech. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be, and welcome to this episode of the iPhone 4S versus the iPhone 5 versus the iPhone 5S here in a 9.3.1 speed test, boot up test, general UI test. We're just basically gonna verse these all together in a series of tests and see which one comes out on top. The reason for this comparison here is to help you decide if you want to upgrade to one of these from, previous generations, or if you just want to see how they perform against each other for fun. But let's get into that right now. Let's go. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna boot these devices up. So on the left, I have the 4S, the 5, and the 5S. It's a little bit more difficult due to the fact that the iPhone 5's power button is broken. So I'm just gonna put the lightning cable in there and then try to hit these power buttons at the same time. It may be a little bit off, but it's gonna be pretty close. So let's go ahead and do this in 3, 2, 1. And this is not trying to be scientific either. And see? We got all the Apple logos showing at the same time. So let's see which one gets there first. My guess is going to be the iPhone 5S, 5, and then 4S. But you guys take a guess for yourself while we wait for these guys to boot up. And after this, we're going to get into the software confirmation just to prove that these are on iOS 9.3.1. And then we're going to do some app tests. But that software shouldn't take too long. But we might speed this up if they do take too long to boot up here. All right, guys, so as you can see from that boot up test, the iPhone 5S did win that boot up test, followed by the iPhone 5 and then the iPhone 4S. Actually, the 4S was quite a bit behind. Now, the iPhone 4S is quite a bit of a slow phone, but I do think that they did make some improvements over previous software updates for the iPhone 4S, and it's actually a usable phone. It's not gonna be the quickest phone, not even close, but it's still better than a feature phone, or some of you may say a dumb phone. So let's go ahead and confirm that we are on the latest iOS 9.3.1 versions. So as you can see right here, 9.3.1 13E 238 on the 4S, on the 5, 9.3.1 13E 238 here, and then on the 5S right here, we have 13E 238 here. So this is a fair test. Now let's get into a general UI test. So just kind of going through the general UI elements, we're just gonna kind of see how they scroll through. So as you can see, they are wobbling a bit, but you can see they're all pretty similar, and iOS remains pretty buttery smooth when in terms of just the stock grid icons on the home screens. So there's no problems here. Let me know if you guys see any lag here on the general UI applications here. I don't see any really. Now the iPhone 4S does show a little bit more hiccups, but it's not gonna be that noticeable in terms of these general UI elements right here. As you can see right there, the 4S did hiccup just a bit, but the 5 and the 5S in terms of these general UI elements is very, very similar. And they all work, very buttery smooth. So this is one thing that Apple's got nailed down, is just kind of like their home screen and their optimization of their software. So let's just go see how they all come on, see if they come on at the same time. So I actually missed that one. Let's do that again. Let me go ahead and hit that lock screen. Let's do that one more time. As you can see, about the same. Let's try to unlock these all at the same time. You can see that was about the same. Let's do that one more time, just so you guys can see one more shot. Maybe I missed it, who knows? Let's do that one more time. So you can see we're gonna scroll these all at the same time. So it looks like there might be a milliseconds difference between each of the devices, but it's nothing too big. So now let's get into the app switching test, where we're gonna fire all these apps up, and we do have the system applications open due to the fact that this is a pretty fair test for all of the devices to open the system apps, because if you can't even open the system apps, then there is definitely some lag going on with your device. So let's get into that right now. All right, guys, so now let's get into the application switch test. Let's make sure everything is closed out in the backgrounds of these devices. Let's close everything out here on the background of these devices. And they are all connected to the same Wi-Fi network. So let's begin this with the calendar, and you tell me what you guys think in 3, 2, 1. Looks like the iPhone 5S won that one. Let's see which one goes home quicker. And it looks like the 4S trailed behind from my vision. So shockingly, it looks like the iPhone 4S was home first, then the 5, then the 5S. So that was kind of backwards. Let's go ahead and go into the weather application in 3, 2, 1. As you can see, 5S, 4S, and we're still waiting on the 5, so let's wait for the 5 to catch up. We're gonna give you 5 more seconds, iPhone 5. If you don't catch up, you're out of here. All right, looks like the iPhone 5S is having troubles loading that up. So let's go into the calculator here. As you can see, iPhone 5S, iPhone 5, then iPhone 4S. So that was pretty much what we expected. Let's go back home. And consistently, the iPhone 4S is the first one home, then the 5, then the 5S, and that's pretty odd, but you know, I guess that is what's happening. So let's go into the compass. Oh, that wasn't a fair test. I missed all of those taps. You know, we're all human. Sometimes we miss some tapperies over here, or tapsters, whatever you want to call it. All right, 3, 2, 1. And you see iPhone 5S, it looked like the 4S loaded, and then the 5S. I don't know what's going on with this 5. This 5 is wonky right now, but let's go back home. So let's get into the App Store now. Let's try to open these all at the same time in 3, 2, 1. And you can see the iPhone 5S first, slightly behind is the iPhone 5, and then quite a few seconds behind is going to be the iPhone 4S. Now let's just try to go into one of these apps at the same time. Let's try to tap this Jotted Notes application. So let's go into there at the same time. Well, I missed that one on the 5S, so let's just do one more test of those. So let's do this Mighty TV right here. And you can see it was the 5S and all the way down the line. So that's pretty much, you know, how it's gonna look in terms of the actual performance on the applications. The 5S, 5, and then 4S as expected. But going home, once again, press the home buttons. For some reason, the 4S is the faster of all 3 of these to the home screen, then the 5, then the 5S. So that's kind of backwards, Apple, so I don't know what's going on there. But let's go into clock here and see which one gets there quicker. I missed that tap. Let's do this one more time on the clock here. 3, 2, 1. So there we go. You can see about the same time on all of those. So let's go to the Maps application now. So let's try to get this in. This is actually not as easy as it looks, but you know what? It's first time doing this, so let's try to get it as good as we possibly can, as excellent as we possibly can in 3, 2, 1. And bam, there we have the iPhone 5S, then we have the iPhone 5, followed by the iPhone 4. So if we go back home, we're gonna go into settings now in 3, 2, 1. And you can see iPhone 5, iPhone 5S, iPhone 5, then iPhone 4. Going home, same story down the line. So going into apps, it's this way. Going out of apps, it's this way. It's kind of odd. Let's go into Safari here in 3, 2, 1. And let's just open up a similar website here real quickly. Let's go to apple.com. Apple.com here. Apple.com here. Small iPhone keyboard, can't type. Okay, let's go to apple.com here on the iPhone 5, and you might say small Apple keyboard on these other devices as well. Let's go to apple.com here on the iPhone 5S, and let's try to hit go at the same time in 3, 2, 1. So hit go on all of them at the same time. Surprisingly, iPhone 5 was there first, and then the 5S, and now the 4. So let's just see how they scroll through. So actual browsing, you know, through the websites themselves, not too much different on any of these devices, although you are gonna notice pretty good smoothness improvements. I don't know if that's even a word, just made that up. Smoothness, is that a word? Maybe it is. But these two are about the same in smoothness. But the iPhone 5S just is gonna outperform it in, you know, in some multitasking and overall performance, but these are pretty close here, but the iPhone 4S is lagging behind. So let's get into this next test, which is gonna be the multitasking switch test, where we go into those apps that we already went into on iOS 9.3.1. All right guys, so now let's do a multitasking switch of all those applications that we already went into. So essentially what we're going to do is we're just gonna go back into them and see how they hold their place in the background to see which one is the quickest. So let's double tap all 3 of these, and then let's go into Safari at the same time. And it looks like we had a little bit of a hiccup there on the 5S. That was actually not a hiccup, I actually hit the wrong button. So let's do this again. Safari there. So you can see that was about similar. Let's go back, let's do settings on both of these devices. Don't do this to me, iPhone 4S. Okay, let's go to settings on all 3 of these devices. So in 3, 2, 1 here. As you can see, that was about similar there. Let's do another one. Let's do another one here. So let's go into the clock application on all 3 of these. And this is not as easy as it looks, so just bear with me here. So let's go into clock, and you can see about the same. So in terms of multitasking, going into the applications themselves, they're all gonna be pretty good here, and you can see they all scroll through. So in iOS 9.3 here, they did fix the multitasking speed. It's pretty quick here. As you can see on all of them, they just fly open here. Now, as you can see, the 4S, even for being an older device, can handle some pretty quick multitasking there. Now, actually going into the applications, of course, it's gonna be the 5S first, then the 5 and then the 4S, but in terms of consistency over long periods of time, like day in and day out, you're probably gonna notice the performance boost on the iPhone 5S over all of these. Let's fire the camera applications up, and I do have it set to the front-facing camera so you can see the picture taking and not just a black table. So let's try to do this fairly in 3, 2, 1. As you can see, actually I think it closed out, but let's do the front-facing camera. So it looked like it was the iPhone 5, 5S, and then 4S, but you let me know if I missed that one. But let's see how they all take photos here. So in 3, 2, 1. You can see there. So you're not gonna notice too much of a difference here. They're all pretty quick photo takers. You can hold down on the iPhone 5S and you get multiple takes here, whereas on the 5, it doesn't do those quite as quick photo bursts. And over here, it's just like the 5, but it's a little bit more laggy here in terms of the camera taking there. But in terms of all of the features, it's all pretty much the same, although you do get the included slow-mo here on the iPhone 5S. So camera taking experience is pretty good on all of these iPhones, but these two right here are going to be the best, with the iPhone 5S being the most feature-rich of the 3. All right, guys, so that's pretty much gonna wrap this video up on the iOS 9.3.1, kind of review, speed test, all those kind of things, comparison, you may call it, of the iPhone 4S versus the iPhone 5 versus the iPhone 5S. I don't know if you can see those, so I'm just gonna put them back to the front. And this was the first time we did 3 devices at once, so it was a bit challenging. We made some hiccups here. My fingers didn't press it all, but we'll try to improve in the future. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to be the cool guy that leaves it a thumbs up. And if you dislike this video, go ahead and leave it a thumbs down. But if you do decide to leave it a thumbs down, let me know why you disliked it so we can improve future videos here on Everything Tech. And any questions, comments, concerns, you guys know what to do in the comments section. We'll get into a chat about this. And we are working on the Blue Life 1X review. But I already had this one planned before that, so this is pretty cool, and this was pretty damn fun. So anyways, enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, and I will catch you all in the next episode. Be sure to be well and peace.